Guys, when you see a property sell, there's often more to the sales price. So you see it sells high, what happened there? You see it sell low, what happened there? We're going to teach you some of those things that influence the prices in the sale, and it's the story behind the price. Stay tuned.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Morning Minutes, episode 1630. What's really behind the sale price? Good morning, Mark. How are you?
Good. We're in Metro in Sydney CBD today. Awards night last night, Verge.
We won number one real estate office of the world,
Universe.
of the universe, hosted by Novak Properties, winner Michael Bergio and Mark Novak. It was a good night.
Our mums were handing out the awards.
Yeah. So he did really well. But
Congratulations.
thank you. Pat on the back.
Pat on the back. But now, Michael, this is coming up to the back, something you've just sold. But you do see these sold prices with agents and you think to yourself, how the hell do they get that much money? Or you think to yourself, man, I would have bought it at that price. There's often the backstory to sales that people sort of have to dig out, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think a big one, let's say in residential, would be you see a 2-bedroom unit, you think it's worth 1.1, you see it sell for 900,000 or $1 million, and you think, oh, what a bad agent. But what you don't know is there could be a special levy for 300 grand coming up. There's been a lot of bad works in the building. And that result ended up being a phenomenal price. And the sort of the magic that agent did during the campaign was actually really good to get that price, because I'm coming off a couple sales recently in the commercial market. And I was saying to Mark and Lisa,
you sold $15 million in 15 days.
Yep, about to be 20 million when Gladys goes through. So it's been a big couple of weeks, and a lot of it, I'm looking back on the deals. As much as you learn from deals that fall apart, deals that are successful, I sort of said to these guys, I don't know if I would have been able to do these deals a couple of years ago, or let alone in the early stages of my career, because the vendor management, the buyer dialogue, it was so high level because none of the sales were easy, especially one where when you don't necessarily have the support from the bank. So you've got buyers looking at a property, and a lot of banks, unless there's long leases in place, may not support that sale, let alone the valuation. And then also we had a lot of people wanting a lot of different terms on the property, so not desired. But long story short, I don't know I would have done that years ago. So even though the price may on face value look a little bit cheaper than you would have thought, when you take a step back, look at the campaign, it was actually a phenomenal price, what we had to go through. And in residential, I think the easiest way to look at that is the special levy coming up and how to negotiate, because buyers are scared of any type of works to a unit block or any type of special levy.
So how does, I guess a great question would be, how does a buyer get that context?
Yeah.
Or how does the seller, if they're thinking about selling their place, looking at something you've sold, get that context as to what made up that sale and what can make up a sale? Like, is the best thing just to ring the agent and have a good old fashioned chat?
Because it is a hard one, because I almost want to ask you the question, because I don't necessarily know the answer. Because if you're an owner and you have a block that's got a troubled history, you want an agent experienced in that. And it's like
that field to handle that opposition or those curly ones. Yeah, it's a good point.
And it's like, how do you don't want to go like, where are some of the worst sales? Maybe that agent actually did really good.
Yeah.
I think it really comes down to asking questions to that agent going, do you have any examples of selling a unit where there was a special levy coming up or being in it? Because it's a different beast trying to explain that to buyers. Like, so many
building trust,
Yeah.
understanding building even
Yes.
of the structures and stuff like that. Understanding makeups of like for instance, the one you just sold in 685 Pickwater Road, understanding all the lettings in the building,
Yeah.
because there was 26 lettings in this one that we just sold, and then people will have to feel comfortable around that, and wrapping your head around. And if they need to relet it, is there how would they do that? Does our agency have capacity? There's a backbone more than just a sale.
That's what gave the buyer the confidence to go ahead with the purchase, because yes, on face value, 26 tenants, 530 a year income, that's great, but that's only as great as the tenants are there. So this buyer needed confidence on, one, are they paying rent? We were able to say we manage the building, we're across it, and we've also leased 90% of this building. We know the tenants, we put them in there. We know, and then giving them that background, that actually helped heavily with the sale of the property. And how do you know that as a buyer or a seller to pick an agent that has that? But it plays a massive factor in what's behind the price.
And I think if you're buying something from Hong Kong, or off just looking at the contract and buying it, it's pretty hard to do stuff like that. So I think belly to belly with your real estate agent, if you've seen a sales price, for instance, and you want to know more, belly to belly with that agent, asking them, because if you're in it, I guess you're looking from two angles as a consumer. You're either looking because you're going to buy something like that, or you're going to sell something like that. And I think when you're belly to belly with that real estate agent, poking them on that sale, that price, the context behind that, I think there's value in those learnings for someone who's buying or selling.
Yeah, because this is like the importance of buying under your nose, buying like not only, because a lot of people go, oh, let's look at Queensland, I got a great deal, I got it 10% cheaper. And when people tell me that,
face value.
When people tell me that, I say to them, I use an example really close to home where it's like, do you know how on this street, anyone on the left loves it and everyone on the right hates it because of this happens? And they're, oh, yeah, that's like this street here. I go, we know that because we are local. We know, let's say that side floods, which no one else knows, and you only know once you're here. How do you know that in Queensland that you haven't bought on the side of the street, which all locals know is the bad side of the street? But when you're looking at Google Maps, it's all the same. It's left and the right. It's 10 meters away. Same thing when you're seeing a property sell. Maybe if there's scaffolding on the building or scaffolding been there on the past, that would be a really good indicator to know there's been some history there. And if an agent has sold in that building, you would want to call them and say, hey, I know there was work done on this building and you've sold it.
Yep.
How did you handle what the work was? What was it? What was the special levy?
Yep.
How did that impact the price? You only get that from being local. So,
well, I guess that's due diligence, isn't it?
Yes.
Your due diligence on a different state is going to be a lot of work, but your due diligence when you're buying the house next door to you is going to be a lot less, because you know 1,000 things, 10,000 things about that property before you've even looked at it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. Due diligence, very important when you're buying a property. What happened behind the price? I think unpacking the agent, the context of prices and stuff like that, because we often see these unbelievable buys or these hero sales, and you want to know that's the backstory behind it, and that's what we're saying today is dig for that backstory.
Yeah, because that could be the real difference, especially if you're selling a property that may have a bit of a, don't want to say checkered past, or a bit of a not the cleanest background. You really need an agent experienced in that as well.
There you go.
Beautiful.
Michael Berger, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Right,
Winners.
On the awards night tonight. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you for Brian Mango Vape.
Yay.